Was this thing on? Anyway, my GoPro shut off. I probably lost all that footage. But anyway, we got a CT5, CTS, whatever. I don't know what it is. 350T Cadillac 2022. Had a subscriber ask me about, you know, to do a thing about back windows, do a video about back windows. So I'm gonna go in depth. I really hope I didn't lose that footage, like it just randomly died, even though it's got plenty of battery. But I got the other side done, starting to shrink this top, shrink this bottom. It's getting 35% Supernova, which is a ceramic film. So it's gonna shrink a little bit slower than what I'm used to. So I'm just kind of trying to do my best here. So I don't do a whole lot of ceramic jobs, because this is Ohio and it's cold half the year, and maybe not cold, but just not hot. So a lot of people, they just want to get window tint to look cool. I'm using a dry shrink method, so just dryer sheet, and I don't let it fully dry. I like it just to have a little bit of residual moisture. I've used bar soap. I like bar soap. I kind of prefer it, but the dryer sheet's just more convenience and a little bit less messy for me. On my sides, I lock my middle down like a regular H pattern, but I don't, like, I'll push these down, but they're not locked down. I don't put any other moisture on it. That's why I leave my dryer sheet just a little bit wet, so it holds the film in place. I find that if you let it dry completely, the film just wants to slide around on you. And you know, that's where people are gonna lock down their pattern with their H, but it just doesn't really work that well for me. Okay, good, so that's not in our border. So what we could do is, let's say that was in our workspace, these little pinches, they're not even really creases. We just lay them down, just get a little bit of air underneath there. Now we can just come right back across. And shrink it again. I like to keep my heat moving down at the bottom because there's the seal down here. I don't want to burn it or melt it or anything. So now let's see if we can get a close-up. I'm going to try to push a little bit more air that way. Watch this. You see these three little creases? What three little creases? Gone. That's a game changer right there. It used to be like, man, you messed that up and it was a do-over, you know what I mean? Great big bumblebee thing I killed earlier, dude. That thing was huge. It was ridiculous. It was like dive bombing me and stuff. So get our lights set up. Not a ton of room in these old caddies, but they're not terrible either. Oh, thing's bright. So I don't know how I want to lay this one out. I might just do one of these. That's fine, that'll work. So basically, I want to get a bunch of light down here in this bottom edge first, because I don't know if you can see, but the deck lid actually drops down. So our line is down here, but the way we're looking at it, you know, we're only going to be able to see like this bottom defroster line. So snap a new blade. Oh crap, I needed to throw that in the trash bag. So there's gonna be a longer video talking about it, but essentially guys, this is my last day in the shop. A lot of crazy stuff's happened here. That's like the landlord, like that wall being put up over there. The landlord moved in some gambling place next door. Found some drug paraphernalia in the bathroom that I have to share with them. I came in one day and then there's broken glass all over the parking lot. And they're saying, oh, it wasn't there when we were here. But I'm not saying I'm a glass expert, but I deal with glass every day. And what I can tell you for sure is it was tempered glass, and it was definitely from the vehicle of one of the people that runs the place. And he's trying to say that it wasn't him, but he's got a Toyota. He's got a Toyota, guys, an older Camry. And you know what? He's got the generation where they stamp the VIN number on every piece of glass. And wouldn't you know it, every piece of glass has a VIN number on it except for one. And it would be the window that was right by the, because he parks in the same spot like every day. It's exactly where I swept up the glass. So luckily, I didn't have any customers here because it was on a Sunday or Sunday night, so I didn't have anybody here. None of my people were, you know, had to worry or anything like that, but with that, the drugs, the generally, like, I can't do any videos or whatever because they'll have music playing and stuff, and it's not like super loud. It's just enough that it would mess up your audio. And so, you know, that's why you're not seeing very many videos, because I don't really have a quiet place to film them. Oh, and then there was issues with the internet. They got internet here, which is great. But then they didn't realize that I also had internet. So when Spectrum came, they asked if anybody else had internet, and they said, you know, I don't know, because they didn't know if I had it or not. So the Spectrum guy decided that it was inactive, and he went ahead and took my equipment with him. So I came in the next day to no internet, no phones. So I was like, well, this ain't good. So then I had to call the Spectrum people, call the landlord. Spectrum brought me new equipment and apologized. And then like 2 days later I go, because there's like a closet, like a utility closet or whatever, and that's where all the internet stuff is. I realized that I don't have internet again, so I go up, I'm looking, my stuff's been moved. And then they, I don't know. I ended up resetting everything and it still didn't work, so I was like, screw it. I took all my equipment home. I'll be working out of my house, my home garage, which I worked from before. You've followed me for a while. You've probably seen a handful of videos done there. So this is why I'm bagging up all my trash. The dumpster is actually overflowing, so I got shocked. So I'll have to bag all this and sit it by the dumpster, because I'm certainly not going to take it home with me. Done with that. We'll use this one here in a few. All right, so back glass is shrank and cut, but if you can see, we still got a couple little fingers here. One thing I always like to do, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time, is I'm gonna go back around and I'm gonna polish the edges off. That's what I call it. Because if I do get a little finger, I would much rather deal with it on the outside, where I can basically heat it up as much as I want, do whatever I want with it, and I really don't have to worry about melting any panels, anything like that. What causes these is basically like we shrank all the way up to here, but now that this film's gone, like this is just not locked down anymore. No big deal. It's gonna happen. Don't freak out. Let's come back across, shrink it again. It usually doesn't take but a couple minutes. There are some cars you can definitely get away without doing that, but for no more than it takes. See if it gets shocked again. Nope. Cool. All right, prep. This is how I prep every single back window every single time. We have these defroster lines. Excuse me. Now, some people say, well, this is a 2022. This particular car only has 2,900 miles on it. You don't need to scrub these with a steel wool pad. This is one of these deals you get for like your kitchen. They've got soap built in, or like, you know, whatever made in. These don't scratch glass, and got this lady's dog hair on it. That's cool. There's another one. They don't scratch glass. Be careful on the edges, especially on cars with like sensitive materials. But I spray my window, and I don't go crazy. That's probably a little more water than I should have put, but I'm just gonna scrub these defroster lines. I'm gonna scrub the dot matrix. And the reason I scrub the defroster lines, because this car, even though it's new and doesn't have very many miles, I guarantee you it's been hot and cold. Condensation takes place, and these defroster lines start to get rusted. It'll just be a very, very thin layer. And I wish this was a hatchback, because if this was a hatchback, I could lift the hatch and we could use a flashlight and we could see exactly what I'm talking about. This will knock that top layer of gunk and crud, rust, whatever you want to call it, corrosion, anything like that. It's going to take that off of there. It's going to give you a better surface for your film to stick to, period. So I just go over the whole thing. The older the car is, the more intensely I scrub it. You know, I might go over it 2 or 3 times, especially like your bottom corners, which we can't really get to because of that deck lid. So we're just going to kind of gently just do the best we can without scuffing up this deck. Some people take deck lids out. I don't know. I don't know how to do it, honestly. And I don't know that it would be worth it for me, because, you know, like, we got an airbag here, obviously an airbag on the other side. You know, I don't know how they come out, if you have to take the trim pieces out or what have you. I don't think I've ever ran into a situation where I've like needed to take the deck lid out. Certainly sometimes where it would be beneficial. So now what I'm gonna do, take a clean towel, which we could use this towel, doesn't matter, but I'm just take my bulldozer, just kind of try to scrub this bottom edge where I couldn't reach, and that's just gonna obviously get any little dirt or whatever. Now you can still see there's some moisture up there, probably from where we were pushing it up and down. So next up, final squeegee. Now on that, I like to just blast some down through there. Just kind of push any dirt down below that deck. Come around this brake light thing into this corner. I like to go from passenger side to driver's side. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's because I'm right-handed. I like to get pretty much as low as I can. You're gonna get to a point where, see, I physically just can't go all the way across. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take one more swipe down here as far as I can. Now just push that. All right, so we can see a couple little streaks here, not really a big deal. Take our bulldozer though, I like to wipe the edge off between passes, just to ensure any grit or anything that might be on there, especially when you're shoving it down here in this black hole. get that off there before you do your next stroke. And I like to do about 30% overlap, meaning if you look, you can see I've got maybe an inch or two of the bulldozer where I already squeegeed. You could go further, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal because this is a relatively clean car, low miles. And I'm going to push a little bit of moisture down the edges. Oh. Dude, like, where do these things come from? I don't understand. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Sorry guys, these things, like, they're freaking huge. I'm not trying to get stung. I'm not allergic, but so anyway, this is probably one of the biggest, like, things that I've picked up that's just helped me tremendously as far as contamination on rear windows. Shoot a little bit there so it sticks. You're just spraying it, spraying the air above the film and letting it settle so that any dust and stuff that's floating around in the air, because trust me, there will be dust. It does not matter how clean you keep your shop, you will get dust floating around. But it's gonna, you know, get that to settle and stick to the release liner. I'll come over here and do the same thing. Yeah, it does kind of make a mess on the car, period. No two ways about it. So hit that with some moisture. Slip solution, what I'm running is Members Mark Sam's Club generic dish soap. Dawn knockoff, whatever you want to call it. I'm running it in a Tint keg from sundistributingdirect.com, custom wrapped, obviously. What else? Brass sprayer, fan tip. I'm running my dilution ratio of 1.5 ounces of soap per gallon. I've used Fusion All-Type before. I think it's an awesome slip solution. Excuse me. The problem I had with All-Type is it breaks down within like 2 days. So come in and mix it up. You're gonna have an awesome time. It smells good. It works great. It's the bee's knees. However, you know, say you leave for the day, come back the next day, shake your keg up. It's going to be kind of inconsistent. Like your film will slide for a second and then it'll tack, and then you kind of like tap it a little bit and then it'll slide some more and then it'll tack up all of a sudden. And it's just very frustrating when you're trying to slide a back glass or a door window and it's home and it just doesn't want to go. So reverse rolled, I don't really roll it onto the glass, especially on cars like this. It just never seems to work out all that well. Excuse me, goodness gracious. So what I like to do is I've got my sides hanging down. I'm not too worried about them yet. I want to get this film closer lengthwise, and then I want to check. See, I don't know if you can see it because the camera's above my head, but we've got our corner and we're just basically, we want to get this side started first and just kind of slide that down where it needs to go. And then we're gonna end up hitting right up here. So see how I just kind of shove that there? Now I can tuck this side, boom. I can run this up. We're gonna be really close to where we need to be. I can tell you this side needs to come down. So now same deal. What I want to do, because I don't want to hit this headliner, or I guess it's not a headliner, it's a pillar, but I want to slide the film back so that I can get it on the glass. Now I can just slip this over. Now we're covered, but we need to come, oh actually, yeah, we do. We need to come down just a touch. Boop. Now you can see we got a little gap, but that's all right. Now we can slide it up. This thing does pull down, so you could tuck it a little bit. You want to be careful though, because if you tuck it too much, you're gonna end up being in the lens area, if that makes sense. I'll show you when I'm done here, but now I'm just double checking. I cut these kind of tight because of this and the mysterious deck lid, but this is a 35. There we go. So I don't think we're gonna have any troubles. Like if we did have just a slight light gap on this border, I don't think anybody would notice, but that's not how I roll, so we got it. Before we get getting too crazy, we should be in a situation where we have our top set, right? So then that means we should definitely be good on the bottom edge, but I like to just go look. This is the lens I was talking about. If you can see, there's not very much of a border between the dot matrix on there and this. So if you cut that too much or you slide it up too far, you're gonna be in that. And you know, if your cut's kind of wonky, it's gonna look like trash. So give it a quick little mist. I kind of like to, it just really just depends on the back window. But I kind of like to just kind of do an H pattern almost. Get a few swipes in going one way, get a few swipes in going the other way. And right now I'm not using a ton of pressure. I am just trying to get the film where it needs to go. Now I'm gonna go vertically, because if I do have any little fingers or whatever, that's gonna push them up and down instead of side to side, because you know, we can't shrink them on the side. We can shrink them up and down. This is a little bit of a pain right here, but go ahead and push that out of the way, push that. Not using a ton of pressure just in case I hit a little dry spot or something, I don't crease the film. Now that I've got this done, now I'm gonna come back, use some pressure, try to get as much as I can off these defroster lines. As far down as I can go. You get to a point where you just can't get enough leverage on it with that. So, bulldozer time. I like to start in the middle. And when I'm doing this, I like to do about 50% overlap. Biggest thing is, okay, so I put pressure here, now I want to let go. If you're still putting pressure like this, you push this down and pull out, it's gonna, not in every car, but a lot of cars, the lip here is gonna hook your film and pull it back up with it. So I go all the way across one side. Now I'm gonna come back across. Double check these corners. Same deal, I'm gonna go back. Now I'm in the middle, done. So now I'll take my towel, and we're not gonna push super hard. We just wanna catch any drips that are running down, get rid of any big streaks. Any little puddles up here on the window. So that way, when we go to the outside, we can verify pretty quickly that we're good to go. So just for kicks and giggles for you guys, normally I don't use glass cleaner yet. Man, I need to adjust this. Because I hand cut everything on the car. This back window is gonna need done again, because I'm gonna get overspray from cutting the, excuse me, my goodness, the quarter windows, back doors. I'm gonna get overspray on the glass again, so it's gonna need cleaned up a second time, but swipe across there, just gently, real gentle, I don't wanna scratch it, but boom, okay, so there we go. No peanuts, no fingers, no nothing. The only concern that we might have is right here on the dot matrix. So one thing I can do real quick is grab this hard card, grab a paper towel. Let's see, where is it? Right here. I might be able to reach it and show you guys. We'll just push it, boom. Just a little bit of extra moisture. You can see I sucked that out of there. And what that's gonna do is keep the film from being able to draw it back in. And just in looking at this, I can see we got, oh, that's just a drip. But you could do, I mean, you can do the whole, every edge that you can reach with this if you want. I don't find it necessary. Most of the time, at this point, I'm done. I'm not gonna do anything else until I do the rest of the car. And the reason why is I'm gonna let this dry. I wanna start letting this tack up, because the problem that you can run into is you can sit here and fight with this wet film and push and chisel and heat and do all this work that's just sucking up your time, when the fact of the matter is it's just not dry yet. So you can push it out. Look, there's another freaking bee. Gosh. So you can push this out, push it out, push it out, and every time it tries to draw stuff back in, you have a chance of sucking in trash, dirt, you know, grit, grime, whatever. And if you start sucking in dust, it's gonna make your tint job look worse. So what I like to do is, like, I got this point, I don't have any big fingers. I just showed you, just a quick demonstration on how to do this, just for the video's sake. But now I'm done. I'm gonna do the rest of the car and then check everything over when I'm done. So like in an hour or two, whatever it ends up being, freaking bee, I swear. That's when I'll make any little fine touch-ups or whatever. You can start the car, turn the defroster on right before you roll it out. Make sure it's not gonna expand or anything when you pull it out in the sun, which there ain't no sun today. So there you go, in depth on how I do back windows. Bulldozer, Fusion Hybrid, pretty much the only tools I ever use for a back window. I'll show you if I need to. I got the red line extractor. Not really a favorite tool of mine. It is very stiff, so it does not curve to the glass at all. Go Doctor, I don't like because it's hard. It's like a hard rubber, plastic, or whatever. I like to use this for scraping old window tint. That's why it's got little bits of purple on it. The Reach, not a bad tool. Not my favorite, but I've got it just in case I need it. It does work. I just prefer the Bulldozer and the Hybrid. Works out great. So there you guys go. That's how you do a back window. Prep, shrink, cut, install, all that stuff. But I'll see you guys on the next video.